Power Project family, how's it going? Now, we talk about sleep all the time on the podcast because it's one of the biggest things that helps you with your health and fitness, your recovery, your muscle gain, your fat loss, everything. That's why we've partnered with 8 Sleep for such a long time now, because the technology behind the mattress allows you to track your heart rate, the amount of times it takes you to fall asleep, your tosses and turns, your heart rate variability. It changes its temperature through the night based off how you sleep, but not only yourself, but maybe your partner on the other side of the bed. It is an amazing mattress. Andrew, how can they learn more?
Yes, head over to 8sleep.com/powerproject. That's 8 spelled out, EIGHT, sleep.com/powerproject. Along with more information, you guys will actually save $150 off of your entire order automatically. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
Against Nsima.
Well,
It breaks me on day 1, on day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, all the way to 99 and 100.
I would never do that to you, my friend.
And I cry. And that's the end.
if you did 100 days in a row with Nsima rolling jiu-jitsu, you would progress faster than anybody else in their first 100 days of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I probably would do great because I think he would be actually really nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be super nice. But, you know, the interesting thing is, like, I mean, I don't know how good of an instructor I am. You know, even though I've been doing it for 7 years, brown belt.
You'd be like, oh, you just do this. And I'd be like, what the fuck was that? You went so fast just now.
That's the thing I noticed, though, like with Julian, who's his black belt, right? When he explains certain things in jiu-jitsu to people, like, he'll explain certain things like, oh, I wouldn't have known to tell them that small little detail that can make the biggest difference.
How much coaching have you done? Probably quite a bit in class, right?
Oh, absolutely. Whenever I roll with anybody, especially like white belts or whatever, I'll usually always try to pinpoint the big things that they need to start trying to focus on.
So you're already mentoring people and helping people a ton that you probably don't even barely recognize.
Yeah, that's true.
It's part of the culture, right?
Mm-hmm. Especially when you get to upper belts. But I think I'm still just... I don't trust in my teaching skills just because I've never been an instructor. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of great coaches that have great information. I remember this in pro wrestling. One of my friends was really, really proficient. He was incredible. He had all the technique down, and he knew how to protect the other guy really well, and he knew how to protect himself and be safe, and he was in great shape. And whenever you'd ask him a question, he was like, I'm not a coach. And he'd be like, dude, you know so much. Come on, just help me. And when he would help you, it was really helpful.
Yeah.
He just, I don't think he really went over it in his head that much on how he would instruct, because he was like, no, I'm a student. Like I'm in the process of learning. And so I think that he didn't view himself as a teacher. He was like, I'm still trying to figure this shit out. Mm-hmm. And that's maybe some of how you feel, maybe in some ways.
That is how I feel. But I also think like that's been something that's been a global change, not just like with the way I feel about jiu-jitsu, but the way I feel with all forms of like the fitness I'm currently doing. Because when I was coaching people as far as like bodybuilding and powerlifting years ago, it's so straightforward and you can get the hang of certain things that like, yeah, you still can learn more, but it's simple. But as we started doing more things as far as our fitness is concerned, when we had different people like Weck in here, even Goda, etc., people have certain things to say about, like, for example, Goda, but there's different principles that are really, really good from them, right? And as we've learned more, I've just realized that there's a lot of shit. There's so many different ways that somebody can attack their fitness and their health that it's like, I don't know. I look at myself as just an eternal student with this stuff. I know you do too. Both of you guys do. But absolutely. The thing is we know all of us could help people out, even though we're continuing to learn about this shit.
Yeah, and this stuff can be as complicated as we want it to be, or it could be as simple as, hey, you know what? Why don't you try 100 days in a row of some bodybuilding, see what it does for you. Go to the gym, use 2 machines every day, and fucking peace out after you use the 2 machines for 5 sets of 10 reps on 2 different machines. Do it for 100 days, eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight. See what the fuck happens to you.
Think less about it.
Just keep it really simple. I don't really know how to do this exercise. I can't really feel them that much. Use all machines. The machines help you. They'll do some of that for you. They kind of put you in a position where if you do multiple sets with multiple reps, sets of 10 with short rest intervals, every minute on the minute, you do a set. You'll be like, holy shit, my chest is lit up. You'll have no choice. If you're on the pec fly machine and you do 5 sets of 10 of that, and then you do 5 sets of 10 of some sort of bench press machine, your chest will be on fire. You'll be sore the next day.
Yo, listen up. If right now we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that will help you out, especially as you're hitting your fitness in 2023. But go and go in the link in our description right now and go to our Discord. Just because there's so many people in there who have just taken stuff from the podcast and have lost 30, 50, 100 something pounds just by applying things. No program, whatever, just applying different habits that we talk about all the time. So go to that Discord because good community is over there. And we're going to have some ideas for you to be able to kill your fitness in 2023 in this episode.
Yeah, in 2023, one of the things that's going to be going down for me is the Boston Marathon.
Woo! How did that happen,
April.
dog? Because you need to be invited, right? So how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, I told them, I said, I'm Mark Bell. You got to make a slot for me.
And they're like, oh, shit.
They're like, oh, yeah, you are Mark Bell. No, I think a fan reached out. I don't remember the exact how it happened, but as I've been running more and more, I thought originally it was like a ridiculous proposition. I think it probably happened maybe over a year ago that the guy mentioned it to me. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about any of that. And I do know that there's a qualifying total for it, or a qualifying time. So I don't even know the language. I'm trying to get like a total to get into the Boston Marathon. I did a 26:32 total. Isn't that good enough to get in there?
Oh man,
someone's upset. They've been wanting to do it forever, and it's like he fucking doesn't even know what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. Many people are probably upset, but I did a half marathon in March of last year, and the progress I've made from that time has been unbelievable. And that's why I keep talking about running. That's why you see it all over my social media. I'm really excited about it. And I lose some followers over it, and people get upset about it here and there, but that's okay. It's what I'm into. I don't mind, trying new things and messing with them. I also don't mind things being phases. I did powerlifting for a long time, and I came out of powerlifting. I did some bodybuilding. I will go back into bodybuilding. I'll probably step on a stage again sometime, probably like when I'm 50 or something like that, just as another goal, something to do. Who knows where all this will take me. And I know after the Boston Marathon, I was like, it'd be cool to have another goal. I don't really want to run any further. And I've always liked jiu-jitsu, always loved the UFC. Always had a ton of respect for all the people that do that, contact sports and martial arts. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to commit to 100 days of jiu-jitsu and just see what the fuck happens. I'll probably get some private sessions where I get like coddled a little bit, and maybe the instructor or whomever I pick or whoever I find will understand that I'm going to do it every day. So maybe they'll kind of help so I don't kill myself from doing it every day. By that time, coming off the Boston Marathon, my conditioning will be really, really good. But the conditioning of my elbows and my knees and stuff will not be anything that would be up to par with doing jiu-jitsu and rolling and stuff like that. But the body is going to be pretty resilient and pretty tough. So once the marathon's over and once I kind of lick my wounds from whatever may happen during that event, I'll turn it over to someone to help me. Maybe I'll meet someone here and there. Maybe I'll go to a class, or maybe I'll figure it out whatever way I can to try to string together 100 days in a row, just because this has been so effective for me with running. I could be totally wrong. It could totally backfire on me, and I could just be having you guys push me around in a wheelchair every day with my entire body in a cast every day, and you guys be like, I told you so. But I'm interested to kind of see what will happen with it.
All right. Also, people, if you're listening, just want to get an idea who's listening has been interested in starting jiu-jitsu. If you can make a comment and let us know, just so we can see, that would be helpful. But for you, Mark, what spurred the 100 days? And Andrew, do you know if you've had 100 sessions so far yet? And how's your body continuing to feel as you go through this?
I don't know how many. I wish I had kept track.
Graham's keeping track.
Talking to Graham, he was like, I just had my 40th class, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I guess I could start now, but no, I don't know how many days. and as far as like classes versus like open mat, I've probably had more open mat than I've had actual classes. So I don't know. I've lost track for sure. Body, it's feeling good everywhere. Like my hands feel good, my toes feel good, my joints, everything feels good. It's just I got recently like this weird rib back thing that Graham is also experiencing, and he doesn't understand really what's going on. Kelly Starrett said it could be like a diaphragm thing, so I've been like smashing, and when I smash my back, my abs start twitching, so it's definitely connected somewhere like all around, you know, my whatever diaphragm and rib cage section something.
It's been getting a little better though, right?
Yeah, and that's the annoying
that's good.
thing is that time away is the thing that's healing it. I keep saying that like I wish I could like roll it out and be like, oh, yep, I'm good to go, and you know I could do something to kind of remove the sensation, but it's actually just taking some time off.
You could actually go back and drill technique though.
And so that's what we've been doing is I went back and I started drilling technique, and
There we go.
I was telling my buddy Robertson, I'm just like, I've been taking drilling way too like lazy, you know, like kind of thinking about how Cassio was like, don't fight back. So like kind of going a little bit slower during the rolls. I was still going slow during the drills, even though there's like no contact or low impact and like nothing really going on to as far as like, I'm not going to get hurt and I'm not going to hurt anybody else. So I need to take the drilling way more seriously. Absolutely. I was being too lazy with it, and I had to recognize that. So now I'm getting more excited to start doing the drills again. So that's what's going on right now.
My idea of this is that I'm going to pay somebody and I'm going to make them train me the way that I think I should be trained. So I'm going to tell them no fucking drills, man. Like I don't want to like shrimp and do all this other stuff, because I think that's the stuff that's going to kind of beat me up, and that's the stuff that's going to get me. I'd rather just kind of
you
like,
being serious though?
Yeah,
You're gonna tell
totally.
them no shrimps?
I'm going to tell them shit like that, because at least in the beginning, like I'm going to need small dosages of this stuff,
Yes.
because it's going to make me tremendously sore. Just like somebody coming into the gym, it's like, I can make you sore. I can make you puke. We can do all kinds of stuff. I can get you really fucked up. But if you want to try to do this and participate in it every day, we're going to have to kind of play the long game, you know, and we're going to have to be a little bit cautious. So like just rolling around and fucking around with some stuff on the ground to where, you know, I'm not even going to know where to put my left and put my right and so on. It's all going to be very confusing to me. I think just kind of learning some of that stuff will be super effective. And I'm sure you guys have played this out many times over in your head on what's the most effective. You know, should someone go every day? Should they go every other day? If someone does go every day, are they able to have quality enough workouts to where it can really be super impactful and really make a difference? It's probably tough if you've never done it before, right? So you hear the Danaher Death Squad, they're about like trying to, you know, basically go every day. And people talk about multiple workouts a day, but those are also guys who, you know, they're very advanced. You know, I don't know if they start out that way from the time they're white belts or exactly what, but my whole point is it seems like no one really knows. And if you go into jiu-jitsu places all around the country, you'll get treated differently in every single one of them, and you'll probably start with something slightly different in most places. I know that there's a couple things that they're going to show you particular things that are going to be common, but each person, each instructor probably has a slightly different way, slightly different path that they're going to start people out with.
You know, the interesting thing is that, like, if someone wanted to start running every day, they could. Because, as we've talked about, you don't have to run a mile or 2 miles or whatever every day. You could do a run walk, because you can mitigate the amount of effort you put in. You could run for 30 seconds and then walk for a minute or 2 minutes, then run for another 30 seconds and then walk for 2 minutes. And then the next day you could run for 45. And then on a day, if you're feeling really beat up, you can lower that to running for 15 minutes and then walking for 2 minutes and doing that for like your next 20 or 30 minutes or whatever, right? So you can gauge on how you're feeling. But when you go into jiu-jitsu, since it's a martial art and you're usually working against somebody else, even if you have an instructor who you're doing a private with, the private setting is actually a lot better for the beginner who wants to try to do it every day, because that instructor is probably going to be able to be like, okay, don't push so hard. calm your body down. Especially when you're doing something body to body, your instinct is going to be, if Mark touches me, like the instinct's going to be like, push him away super hard. And you're using so much energy. You know what I mean? That beats you up a lot when you use all that energy. As you get better, you realize you don't have to use so much effort and energy when you do things. So if you do go every day, certain days you can go harder because you understand what it's like. And then other days you could soften things up and still get a really good session in.
Right.
So that's why it's a little bit different. And you're right. If you do have somebody who you're doing privates with, you're going to be able to gauge your fatigue better.
It's also the stresses of just going into a class environment, which is actually probably super important. But then you don't have to really worry too much about sizing up with this guy. Oh man, this fucking guy's in college and like, he ain't got nothing better to do than to fuck me up, you know? And there's going to be people that, you know, with my size and stuff that will want to do that.
Yes.
I'm not scared of any of that. I actually welcome that. That'll be great when that happens. I'll gladly get my ass kicked. I kind of like being humbled in that way. Just not maybe too, not too aggressively, but
It'll all check you.
yeah. It'll all, everything that can happen to you is going to happen to you. You know, like Ed Cohn, you know, told me that with powerlifting. You know, I was at a powerlifting meet one time and a guy missed his opening attempt deadlift, and me and Ed were looking at each other like, damn. And Ed's like, don't say anything. I was like, I didn't say anything. He goes, look, man, he goes, if you do this shit for long enough, everything will happen to you. And the guy ended up unfortunately bombing out in the deadlift, which you don't ever really see. Sometimes people miscalculate their squat or their bench or something like that. You can see that.
Tough.
But the deadlift, after you're already squatted, you're already benched, you're already on your way to a total, and then you selected a weight that was way too heavy. In powerlifting, you can't go back down. But I'd imagine that just about anything that can happen to you, the different ways you can be embarrassed in jiu-jitsu, probably most of them, if not all of them, will happen to you if you do it for long enough.
Yeah. In jiu-jitsu, like how you had in college football, there was the what was it, practice All-American?
Oh, yeah.
So I call him the flow roll world champion. they exist, but during privates, you don't have to worry about that. But what I was going to say is the person that you find will find fun ways to work those drills in that you think you don't like right now. I could show you a couple that have actually really, really helped me on the mats. But you're right. It's the like the line drills that are where you got to shrimp down the whole thing. It's like, come on, man, I'll get like one or two and then we're good, right? But I think because if you are going to go every day, there's going to be days where it's just like, hey, we're just going to work a couple of these today because yesterday we went hard, or tomorrow we're going to try a step up above what we've been doing.
I'm like drooling and they're like, hey, just watch this video for today. You're not doing so good.
Yeah. That's sick.
By the way, real quick, Andrew, I sent you a post from our boy DJ Webb.
DJ
DJ in the house.
He ran 365 days in a row.
He ran a
in
lot.
2022. 1742 total miles. Right, so 1,742 miles. And if you guys go to his page, his Instagram page is I am DJ Webb with 2 B's. This guy's jacked. So he's been running every single day. He's been lifting. I think he had a PR on the deadlift of
maybe 635?
605.
605.
605, man. Like,
DJ Webb's not messing around.
he's not messing around.
He's also
man.
in weird weather too. So it's not like, you know, me doing it every day here in California is quite different than anybody else in some of the other states where there's like just mayhem going on with the weather.
Yeah. He's such an anomaly, but like he's out here like he is really a hybrid athlete. He's been doing the running thing for a long time, and it just shows like if you run, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to lose all your strength in your muscle, right? You just need to build a habit out of it like you're currently doing and like DJ's done and like a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, how far are you going to run? You know, like I think when you start to select some of these things and you try some of these things, like how much are you going to do of it? For how long are you going to do it for? I think people can reasonably run 10 or 20 minutes once they build a capacity for that very safely and efficiently and effectively, probably multiple times a week, and have zero to no impact on their muscle mass, unless maybe they're a hard gainer. You know, maybe there's someone that has typically been pretty thin. Then maybe it's just another one more hindrance to them trying to be more muscular.
Absolutely. But now I'm curious about this. What do you think? you know, because every time I talk to Graham, right, Graham's like, yeah, this is session 56 or this is session 57. And when I think about that, I don't generally count those things. Like, I don't say, oh, this is my 5th, whatever. I just like to do it and just keep doing it. Because in my head, sometimes when I'm counting something, I get too obsessed with, oh, I've done this for this long and this is where I'm at. I know it just takes time of doing the thing. So what do you guys think of like counting the sessions of how many times you do things if you have a specific goal towards it?
Yeah, I think, there's Andy Frisella talks about like 75 hard, and he has that whole philosophy. And there's some studies that show if you do stuff for like, there's a bunch of different studies on a bunch of different days, but 66 days is supposed to be exponentially a lot better than somebody trying to adhere to something for 30 days. So in my head, the way it works out is just that you get over like some sort of hump, if you did something for 100 days, which 100 days isn't a lot. It's not like you're all of a sudden an expert in whatever it is that you're participating in for 100 days. But 100 days in a row of reading, 100 days in a row of cold plunging, it probably just really dampens how tough it is for you to get yourself to do that thing. And hopefully it's something that you did enough of in those 100 days where it's actually kind of harder to live without it at that point than it is to actually go and do it. So that was kind of some of my thought process around that.
Okay. Yeah, I think like what Graham was doing is pretty cool because like I would like to know at some point like how many actual like days or classes I've gone. But I think the reason why I didn't even bother with that is because after, I don't know, 1 or 2 days of trying it, I was like, oh, I just do this now. So could you imagine like keeping track of all your good meals, all your good workouts? It's like I don't plan on stopping, so like I don't really feel the need to track.
Yeah.
But I would say that having the initial goal of like for me, it was like I'm going to go 3 times a week, no matter what. That helped kind of just get me more ingrained into building the habit of going every other day, basically. So I think for that it was really good, but for me, it wasn't important to count exactly how many times I've gone because I just want to do this forever.
Okay, so I think what you just said is a huge deal. One thing is you already knew you wanted to do it for a long time. I think Graham also knew that too. But if you're trying to start running every day or if you're trying to start jujitsu, it could be a good idea to say, because I think when Graham started, he's like, I'm going to do 100 days. Right? It'll be good to say, I'm going to do 100 days of this, or I'm going to make sure I run 60 total days. I think that
is the initial thing he was talking about, yeah.
Yeah, because what that does is, at the end of the day, if you want to get good at running, you have to become a runner. A runner. It doesn't mean you have to be like a super high level runner, but you have to just become the person that runs. If you want to become good at jujitsu, then you just have to become a grappler. It doesn't mean you have to be the top of the world, but grappling needs to be something that you just do. No matter what, you're just doing it, right? But you need to do it enough for it to become something that you do. So setting those goals of like, beginning of the year, I'm going to run 100 days, and you notch that out. At a certain point, though, at the end of that 100 days, maybe you're now just someone who running is a part of your routine. But setting that goal for yourself has put you in that path.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was messing around with running for a little while before that, and I was trying to do it, I guess, in ways that I thought other people did it. And then I was like, why am I doing that? I never did that with like lifting necessarily. I always just kind of like followed how I felt. And I just like, I would, I had a plan, I guess, of some sort in the gym. Kind of knew I was doing like lower body or upper body. Didn't exactly know exactly what I was going to do every single time. It was just like, okay, well, today's a upper body day, so there's going to be some type of pressing movement. It might be a floor press or a board press or a close grip bench or a incline bench or a regular flat bench or a bench against bands or bench against chains, like whatever it might be. And I messed around. I messed around with many different versions of that for a long time, and ended up finding it to be fun, something that I was able to do for a really long time. And then when it came to running, I was trying to like listen to what I heard other people doing, and then I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just run every day and kind of see what happens. And then it turns out there's a lot of people that run every day. And there's some people who run every day for 20 years. There's a guy on Instagram who's got over like 2,000 something runs. So I don't know, 5-6 years worth of running. And, when he's running, it looks impeccable, looks amazing. And I was like, this guy's out there doing it. He looks great. Like he's in great shape. There's other people that are doing it too. And you just hear so many stories about people being broken and busted and you can't do it too much. And I think when you commit to something every day, it changes the way that you're going to do it. So if I told you guys, hey, I want you to sprint down the street out here. First of all, you might say no, but your first thing might be like, well, for how far, or like you need to know seconds or you need to know like the distance. And if I said, I want you to sprint for 4 minutes, you'd be like, oh, okay. And then you might have in your head, like, I'm going to pick up a little bit of speed, but I'm not going to really run that fast because 4 minutes is a long time. I don't remember the last time I did something like that. So you're going to like pace yourself, right? So if you do something for 100 days, maybe it is cold plunging. Well, maybe how do we lower the barrier of entry so that you can actually do that 100 days in a row? Well, maybe an easy way to do that to start would just be the duration. All you got to do is get in for 90 seconds. And you know full well that if you got in there and you started doing it and you were in there for 90 seconds, you would be like, it's pointless for me to only be in here for 90 seconds. I should probably stay in for another 90. Now you're at 3 minutes. And that's a really good dosage of cold therapy for the day. You can do that with the sauna. You can do that with your food. Imagine with your food, you're like, I want to be, I want 80 to 85% compliance on my diet. And I want to put together 100 days of that. Saying 100%, it's going to lead to binging in most cases. It's going to lead people to go off the rails in most cases. So give yourself a little bit of wiggle room at something like that. But if you were to commit to that and you're able to actually get through it, again, your ability to live without that once you've made it through 100 days is probably going to be harder than you actually committing to the thing. So a lot of times I think we think that committing to something is really hard, but what you'll find is if you commit to it for long enough and you actually get good at it, stopping yourself from doing it would be tough. So there's some people in January or when the new year hits, they're like, I'm not going to drink. Well, it'd be easy for all three of us not to drink. We don't really care that much about it. But if you said no exercise, no movement for a month, it'd be really difficult for us to adhere to. Even if somebody came in, Andrew Huberman comes in and says, man, dude, have you guys heard about the study where people stop lifting for a month and they stop all exercise? They don't run. They don't do jujitsu. Their fucking brain heals. They get smarter when they go back to it. They're able to initiate and learn. The process of learning is increased, times 3. And when they start lifting again, their muscle mass increases. Each person in the study, there was 1,000 people in the study, each person gained 6 pounds in 2 months after they had that 1 month break. We'd be like, fuck you, Andrew Huberman. Even though we love you, we're still not going to take that advice because it's too hard for us to stop, right?
Yeah, that'd be tough.
It's tough right now.
Yeah.
Dude, it's really hard right now for me.
It is hard.
It is poking the death. No, it's killing me. Like right now, like even just waking up this morning was like, all right, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go do drills. Versus a couple weeks back, it was like, let's fucking go. Like I would wake up. So my 8 sleep bed goes off at 4. I'd be up every day at like 3:25. Like fucking, I'm getting up and going right now. I couldn't wait. Now it's like, fuck, my shit's hurting. Like this sucks. And then as the days go, I'm like, God damn it, I just want to get back on the mats. Like it's killing me that I'm not doing it right now.
Power Project family, quality sleep can make everything with your health and fitness easier, which is why we've partnered with Hostage Tape. Now, we've been talking about mouth tape for years and nasal breathing for years. But one of the problems that we've had with tape is we all like to rock facial hair, and a lot of the mouth tapes we would use would fall off of our face at night. Hostage Tape doesn't fall off your face if you have a beard or if you're not a man and you don't. I'm joking. You don't need a beard, right? But either way, Hostage Tape makes sense. It'll stick to your face when you're asleep. You'll have better quality sleep because you're breathing through your nose all night long. It is a no-brainer. And if you head to hostage-tape.com/power project, you'll be able to get the Power Project annual deal, which is a year's supply of hostage tape for 55 cents a day. You'll be saving $150 on the typical yearly deal. You're going to get 2 free tins and a blindfold. It's a no-brainer. So head there right now and get yourself some hostage tape. Links are in the description along with the podcast show notes. Shut your fucking mouth when you sleep. Enjoy the show. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's I think that's an amazing thing, man. Especially the everyone who knows kind of all this stuff that you've been through in terms of your back and your movement. It's like you're now grappling, dog.
I know.
You're grappling against other people. You're fighting other people, and you're improving really well.
Thank you.
Like when I roll with you, I'm like, ooh, I can see the different movement now.
Yeah.
Like that's huge.
It's gigantic. Like I said, it's like I'm becoming another person now.
And for a lot of things that we want to be able to do, it's like when we do change our habits and we change the things we do each day and we change the things we watch, we kind of do become different people, you know? And if you know that you're trying to become better in some type of thing, whether it's running, whether it's losing weight or whatever, there's an aspect of you that is going to have to change. It's not going to be some 60 or 90 day transformation. There's an aspect of you that will be different after a month, after a few months, and it's just going to stay different if you want to stay improving.
And you're going to want to try to find people, you know, if you're, you know, thinking about trying something new in the new year, new you type thing, which, you know, I don't know, you can think of a million different ways to try to play out some of those scenarios, but it's always a good idea to investigate, trying to be better than you were yesterday, no matter what time of year it is. And so if you're somebody that's looking to try something new, try something different, probably the easiest thing, like if you have a hard time with exercise, get around people that exercise.
Yes.
You know, call up your uncle or your buddy or your friend that's always been like a fitness freak or nerd with the stuff. And maybe you're intimidated or scared to like join in because you think they're going to run way too fast or you think they're going to lift way too hard. I think you'd be surprised if you reached out to them and said, I'd really love to join with you. If I, you know, slow you down or something like that, I understand. But if you could maybe just show me a couple things, I would really love that. And they're probably actually going to be like, no, dude, just come with me. Like, it'd be great. I would love to have somebody. When people run, when you're running, a lot of really high level runners, even the best of the best will run at like a 12-minute mile pace, which is a lot of times pretty manageable for somebody that's new. A lot of times it's part of training is to like run a little slower. So maybe if your friend is on a different level in something, you could still tag along. Maybe all you do with them for the day is the warm-up that they do. Maybe their warm-up's like a mile run or something. You're like, oh my God, I don't even know if I'll make it a mile. Maybe you run a half mile with them and then you walk back. Like whatever way you got to figure it out. I think that you'll find that the people that are into this shit, they're usually really positive. And then same thing with the food. Get around people that eat better. Get around people that don't love to party and love to drink, because drinking and partying, it usually throws your diet way off.
Dude, you know, one thing when you were talking about the running is first off, you can get around somebody who's good and proficient, but just like we were talking about, if you don't know anybody like that, but you know somebody who, it's the new year, so I know we all got friends who are like, I want to get in shape finally. All of us got those friends. So find that friend, and if running's the thing you want to get kind of good at, then y'all just do run walks. Don't kill yourselves. Go out and do some run walks, and then like just make it a point to try and do that each day with your homie. Y'all suck, but y'all start to improve slowly together.
Weren't you doing like a walk dance the other day?
Yeah, doc. So, me and my girl have been like, we try to walk together every day, whether it's 30 minutes or whatever. We try to walk every day. But the other day, sometimes we'll like randomly skip. But the other day we were putting on some music, and when I was walking, I was just like, why the fuck am I doing the static ass walk? So I just started skipping, right? And then she started skipping. By the way, we were on the sidewalk, so there are cars passing, people seeing it, but like, just walking felt too, But then she put on some music, And then I just started, dancing while walking to it. And then she just started dancing while walking to it. And then for 20 to 25 minutes on our way back home, we are literally dancing on the sidewalk home, right? We are literally dancing. She's white, so her beat was kind of off with shit, but she was getting her shit. And I was just like, I was like, God damn, this is so fun. It's so fucking fun.
Great.
But that's the thing. It's like when we think about all this movement stuff and walking, like your walk doesn't just got to be a walk. Your walk can be a skip, and then it could be a little jiggle, a little dance. Have fun with this shit.
Yeah, move around a bunch, and you'll find things that work and feel good for you, and you'll find shit that you're like, "Ooh, I should not probably move that way. That was not a good idea."
Yeah,
I always like going different routes and stuff, because we'll go on our walk, like it's basically around the block. I'm like, hey, we're going to go this way through the park. And like, oh, we're going to the park. Like, nope, we're just walking through the park, then we'll go, each different direction. But yeah, like keeping it fun, jumping on and off the curbs and stuff. But what I was going to say is if somebody were to ask Mark to like, hey, I want to get into running. Like, can we go run? It's not Mark's goal to get this person so worked that they can't walk. You know what I mean? Like they're going to want to, or Mark is going to want to make it feel awesome, so that way you want to come back and do it again the next day or the following day. So what I'm just asking is for people that do get asked the question, like make them feel better afterwards. Don't like try to make them puke and shit like that. That's I mean, nobody really wants to do that, but so that, and then so like the people asking, it's like that's typically what's going to happen. Is like they're not going to try to kill you to like be like, oh, look how hard I work, you can't hang with me. It's like, no, not going to do that. Yeah, definitely don't try to do that either.
Yeah, it just needs to be a habit. And to build any habit, you can't have it be so hard you can't do it the next day, right?
I think when it comes to like nutrition, I think where some of us are at is that, with the diet that we have is like, it's easy enough to follow to where we don't really have to make big changes. Yeah. I don't feel like there's anything I need to do. I don't think there's anything I need to do to like even work on getting leaner. I actually think that if I just continue to eat the way that I'm eating, I will continue to get leaner, and it might just be like a tiny, 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 tiny amount. But that will just keep adding up to something over time since I'm already in pretty good shape.
This is the kind of boring aspect of it, but you're going to get to a certain point where you don't need to keep changing things up to be in shape. Like last year you were in shape. The year before you were in shape.
Right.
The year before you were in shape. Right.
Here I am in 2016. Here I am in 2019.
I don't want to throw any shade, but everyone has different goals. You're trying to power lift, maybe you gain some pounds or whatever, but there's something to be said about the fact that we haven't had to do any crazy transformations. We haven't had to be like, okay, I'm going to do this transformation with you guys. Why? Because we all got habits that allow us to what? Stay in shape. And it all comes down to those habits. And the reason I'm saying this is just
Andrew, when we did the cold plunge, you looked like some of the best shape I've ever seen you in.
Fucking delts and shit were popping out.
I feel really good, yeah. And then oddly enough, that day I didn't eat. And like, of course, you're going to nitpick at every little thing. But like my stomach, it like when I do eat, it looks way better. Like when I don't eat, I still have like kind of like some baggy like fat right there. But when I eat, it like pushes it out and looks like I got like deeper abs. And I'm like, ooh, that looks good. I'm like, fuck, I should have ate. But I appreciate it, guys. Thank you,
guys. So we continue to, and I think to the day we die, we're going to drill the sleep topic. But I think one thing that can help everybody out in terms of really trying to stick to whatever their goals are is trying to build a good sleep routine, getting to bed around a similar time, and trying to wake up. Not setting an alarm, but like having your body wake up at that same time each morning. Because when your sleep schedule is like one night you sleep at 8:30 p.m., the other night you sleep at 1 a.m., another night you sleep at 9 p.m., it's like, the recovery just gets kind of fucked. Like your body feels kind of fucked. But if you're able to just sleep at the same time and wake up whatever time that is, you will feel more energized to do the things and complete the goals that you're trying to complete.
I want people that are listening to this to kind of, think of us as like we're personally working with you in a way. Because if you were here with us right now and let's say you're 50 pounds overweight and your back hurts, and you've been training, you've been deadlifting, you've been doing some of your stuff, you're pretty strong, or at least you feel like you're pretty strong. If you were here, we would talk to you the exact same way as we talk on this show. First thing I would say is take off your shoes, take off your socks. First thing Nsima would say would be, hey, what's your sleep like? Andrew would be like, yo, what's your diet like? And we'd just be like, right, right on top of you, right up your ass. How much are you on your phone? Oh, you want to be in better shape. Okay, interesting. It doesn't seem like you're spending that much time on that. You're spending more time in what you told us. You're spending a lot of time making Instagram posts or worrying about what other people are doing on social media. Seems like you have a lot of obligations and responsibilities that take you away from you just playing powerlifter 24/7, or you being in the best shape that you want to be in. But again, what do we talk about on the show a lot? We talk a lot about microdosing. If you are someone that has, a 9-to-5 job or a very busy schedule, maybe first thing in the morning, maybe you can get some time to yourself. Just talking to our boy, John Anderson, recently. John Anderson has always woken up pretty early, but he wakes up even earlier nowadays, gets up at like 4 a.m. every day and spends 90 minutes with himself. He'll listen to something for about a half an hour. He'll meditate for about a half an hour, and he'll read for about a half an hour. Those are all all three of those disciplines are things he's never done before. And he's just finding that this is providing a lot for him. And it's also no surprise that he's in like the best shape of his life. He looks incredible. He's like a ridiculous mutant bodybuilder.
Yeah.
But just like anybody else, we all have things in our life that can manifest and can pull us away from the things that we love to do. He has found by rooting himself in these things, these are important overarching themes that are keeping him strong. So while it might seem ridiculous to like look at someone's feet because they're saying their back hurts, that's exactly what I did this weekend when I had a close family friend come in who's experiencing a lot of pain in their lower back. I looked at the feet, had them using the Bosu ball that we talk about all the time, rolled the feet out, worked on the shins, started working a couple other areas, and we didn't even get to the lower back yet. We were working on the traps. And I said, what do you think goes through your brain and through your mind with all, like, it seems like you got a lot of pain in your body that you didn't even know about. And they were like, well, it's probably harder for me to like manage stress since there's so much stress bound up in my body. I was like, yeah, that's a huge part of it. So how can you manage your spine? How can you manage you can't manage your breathing. You're having a hard time managing your breathing because you have a physical like injury, right? What about the times when we don't really realize that we have like a physical injury? What about, when our toes are all smashed together? We don't really realize what that does to our gait. We don't recognize what that does to our shin and how that pulls on our knee. And the knee starts to pull on the quad, and the quad starts to pull on the hip, and then our fucking back is messed up, and we don't know why. It's because the body's not operating correctly. The traps, the shoulders are all kind of screwed up because the hips are screwed up because they're thrown off because of the way you walk and the way you sit, and so on and so forth. And it gets hard to go. And we have to be taught to breathe, and we got to talk about it on this podcast. We got to be taught to sleep. We got to be taught how to walk. None of this should have to happen. We shouldn't even have to have a show. That's it, Andrew. Pack it up. Let's cancel it.
I don't want to, though.
Yeah, I know. I like the sound of your voice, too.
Oh, thanks.
But, you kind of see my point, how so many of these things are connected. And I hate to always like bash everybody with the interest level, but if you're not taking care of your sleep, if you're not getting rid of your phone away from your bed or out of your bedroom, at some point, you're not as interested in jiu-jitsu as you think you are. You're not as interested in powerlifting as you think you are. You're not as interested in fucking being shredded as you think you are. You're not as interested in being rich as you thought you were. You just keep fucking around on your phone, and you're looking at girls' asses, or you're looking at shit on there.
Beating your shit too late at night. Just looking at probably superficial things, which is fine. Like we all, get lost in entertainment. And
we all like to fuck around, but you got to get that sleep in. It's a really, really important overarching aspect. We've heard the studies come in. We're not huge fans of studies, but there's like compelling scientific evidence that you will burn more calories. You will be in better shape simply from addressing your sleep. If you can sleep a little bit longer, if you can have better quality of sleep, you will burn calories more efficiently with the same exact diet as somebody else. Sleep is free. A lot of the stuff that we're saying, okay, there might be a little cost to like picking up a Nibosu ball or a couple items that we may mention. But most of the stuff that we're mentioning is free for you to go and do and utilize and take full advantage of.
Quick things in terms of optimizing your sleep. It'll also on top of everything Mark mentioned, it's going to help your recovery from workout to workout. So those runs and run walks you're doing that are typically fucking you up and you feel all tired, you're going to feel even better. The training in the gym where you're tearing your muscles. The recovery from your training sessions is going to be better if you have better quality sleep. So you're sticking to your diet. It's going to feel even easier since everything is working better. All your hormones are working better because of quality sleep. Taping your mouth shut at night, which is what we do with hostage tape. We tape our mouth shut so we're breathing through our nose. Why? Because breathing through your nose is going to help you sleep better. So again, simple things. But Andrew Huberman talks about this a lot, getting some nighttime light. So get out, take a walk when the sun's setting or afterwards. That'll help you wind down in the morning. Try to get some sun in your eyes, go outside, take a walk or do a run walk in the morning. That'll help reset your circadian rhythm so everything starts working the way it should. We use 8 sleep mattresses, which are temperature controlled, which makes sure that we sleep well. But if you don't have an 8 sleep mattress or you don't want to get an 8 sleep mattress, set your thermostat at maybe 68, 69 degrees in your room. A cooler room is going to help you sleep a little better. We use eye masks because that helps us out a bit, right?
Easy, inexpensive.
What else? Like, do you guys do for sleep?
Use cold therapy. Use some hot and cold therapy.
Yep.
I don't think it matters really when you use it. I think it will automatically help with almost everything. I think it will help with your sleep. I think it will help with your interpretation of it being cold. You'll find that it's 37 degrees out and you're like, yeah, it's fucking cold, but it's not as cold as my goddamn cold plunge in the morning. And you'll also learn, like, I think the key thing to learn in jiu-jitsu or in running or in cold therapy or in the sauna is that you're okay.
Yes.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my knee's in your chest and you can't breathe. Jiu-jitsu, as you guys were talking about the other day, is like you're trying to halfway kill each other in some
play fighting to the death.
Yeah, play fighting to the death, and there's like a signal for it to
don't kill me.
Yeah,
all right, I got you.
Yeah, don't kill me all the way.
Just a little bit.
Don't break that limb, please.
And I think that in everything that we're doing, especially if you're starting to run, you start to run a little faster and stuff, you can really get up in your head about I'm going pretty, I might blow something out. Like, it's easy to have that mindset, but you gotta fight that thought process, and you gotta think, oh wow, I'm moving really efficiently. This feels really. You gotta change the dialogue in your head. Wow, this feels smooth. Oh man, I feel elastic. I feel good. Rather than I'm gonna pop something here. So just learning that you're okay, whether with the resistance of life, with the resistance that you have in the gym, with the resistance that you might be just inducing with cold therapy, with the resistance that you might feel from hunger because you're fasting a little bit. These are all things that are great to brush up against and to have a little kind of daily hygiene, experiences with.
One thing that's been super, what you kind of touched on right there, Mark, one thing that's huge that over time will help you with all of this is changing your interpretation of these different things. Changing, like, we do a lot of fasting, right? But over time, our interpretation of hunger has changed to, okay, well, it's not that big of a deal. I can eat later, because sometimes we'll eat one meal. Sometimes we'll eat 2 or 3 meals during the day, but the days that we eat 1 or 2 meals, it's not like, oh God, I have to eat. I'm stressed out. I can't do anything else. It's like, oh, okay, I'll go eat later at home. We're used to that, right? When it comes to exercise, jiu-jitsu, running, or whatever, initially when you start any of these things, since your body's going to be feeling kind of beat up, there's this feeling of like, oh God, I got to go do jujitsu again, or I got to go take another run. But if you can start seeing those changes in your body, like Andrew, the changes that are going on in your body, it's like, ooh, my body's changing. Okay. Like I'm getting used to the stress. I know that I'm going to be stronger after this. If all these stressors that you're picking up, if you start to change your self-talk and the way you think about them to, after I get better at this, I will become a stronger human being. I'll become a more resilient person. This stressor is going to help me. Over time, it's not going to be immediate, but over time of changing the way that you perceive those stresses are no longer stresses. They're just benefits.
When you used to work out, you used to probably eat maybe 2 hours before training, and you would probably have like a pre-workout. And you mentioned times where like if you didn't have your pre-workout, you thought like
workout's gonna be shit.
It was like not going to be as productive. And nowadays, people are probably asking you, they're like confused by your diet when you mention it, because they're like, well, you probably don't go to jujitsu fasted, right? Because you go later to jujitsu, but you're like, yeah, no, I don't. I might have a coffee and with protein powder in it or something like that in the morning, and I don't eat until after jujitsu, right?
Yeah, I'll usually have electrolytes before jujitsu or electrolytes before a training session. Some training sessions and a lot of jujitsu sessions, I won't eat beforehand. I'll do it fasted. As long as I have electrolytes in my system and I'm hydrated, I'm good. And the reason for that is because typically, you know, when I do eat, and it's not one meal a day every day, it's sometimes one meal, sometimes 2 meals. But when I eat enough food to sustain me. So if I do choose to eat one meal that night before, that's a meal that could be anywhere between, it's usually a 2-parter. So it's like anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 calories.
It's a feast.
It's a feast. But I eat enough to be able to fuel me to do all the things I need to do the next day. It's as literally as simple as that. But it used to be in the past that I needed my pre-workout meal to eat 2 hours before I lift or before I do anything. I needed my pre-workout. If I didn't have that pre-workout meal, mentally I'd be like, oh, I didn't have my meal. I'm not going to be able to work out.
It's like a little baby without the baba, right?
It's like you need your little, you need your little pacifier to make sure you feel good. But I'm not saying it's bad if you do that. That's not bad.
There's also people that have a hard time getting enough calories in if they only eat once or twice a day, so it's not smart for them to do it.
Exactly. It isn't something you have to do, but all the things that we've done, the fasting, all this stuff, it's helped us become more resilient towards all the other things we do. So, Mark, I know you typically probably, like, I don't know what your routine looks like now, but you probably do some runs without eating right before, 10, 15 miles or whatever.
Yeah, the first 4 hours of every day pretty much is a double workout. It's running and lifting, and there's some calories in there because for the Boston Marathon, it's going to be. I need to learn how to train while eating. Literally, like people like they eat.
Oh shit! Yeah.
They fucking eat when they're running. Which I'm like, hey, I think I'll be pretty good at that.
That's right up your alley.
But I need to get my stomach used to that, so I am ingesting like cyclic dextrins and some branched chain amino acids right when I get done with my run. But for the months leading up to this, it was 0 calories, just coffee and some of the within you electrolytes in the morning. And then I would go and do my run. And sometimes it runs an hour, sometimes it runs 2 hours. And then I'll come here to super training. And I've been lifting very intensely and getting after it. And then sometimes after that, I'll eat like a banana or something. There's still no real meal. I mean, we're just talking a couple hundred calories.
Yeah.
Maybe 400 or 500 calories in the morning. And then probably, I don't know, 3 p.m. to like 7 p.m. is when I just, I'll eat whatever I can at my house. I'll eat, steak or potatoes or rice or whatever.
But you guys are going to lose all your gains if you don't eat, though.
How many years have we all been utilizing intermittent fasting now? It's been
a while.
It's been like 4 years now.
Ever since I've been in shape.
Wait, seriously, Andrew?
No, I mean, yes. Sorry, like, I'm not saying I was a piece of shit, like in like super out of shape, but like my best physiques and I've never felt this good since I started implementing fasting. And I don't fast every day. I don't even fast according to the fasting gods right now. Like I eat 2 meals a day. They just happen to be at the beginning and the end of my day, and I have hours in between and hours after. So I don't think I still technically fast, but like when I started shredding, I utilized fasting, and then I just never went away from it.
You know what's interesting about all this? Like, because some people will be like, oh, you had a protein shake, you're not fasted, blah, blah, blah. Like the fasting, the people that are like all about fasting, they're very specific about this is a fast and this breaks a fast. But the main thing that it's done for us is it's helped all of us not be food focused.
Yeah.
Because remember, like I know in the past, like I'd need to have a meal and then I'd need to have a snack when I felt a little hungry. I'd have something, always ready to chomp on because I was a little bit hungry. But none of us are food focused. Like nutrition is a big fucking deal for all of this. Don't get it twisted. But we're not always like, what are we going to eat for the next meal? What's my next nutrition meal? When am I going to eat my next meal? We're not focused on it.
We get fired up to eat, but
yeah,
that's different.
It's not a huge deal though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think that's where it can help. That's where building that habit, and it's not something you have to do every day, but building that habit can be beneficial.
There's a couple easy things to try to follow along with, and one is to get in approximately a gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you're somebody that is very heavy and you're trying to lose weight, then maybe you can go instead of a gram per pound of body weight, maybe it could be a gram per pound of a weight that you want to weigh. So if you weigh 320 pounds and you want to weigh, let's say you want to get down to like 280, that would be reasonable for you to have 280 grams of protein. Maybe you don't need all the extra protein. But an easy way to look at it is that protein isn't a great energy source. Fat and carbohydrates are energy sources. Carbohydrates, the word need is an interesting one. They may be needed due to the fact that you feel like you can't eat enough if the carbohydrates aren't in your diet. You also may feel that you get more energy when you eat carbohydrates, so you may feel that you need them. How many carbs do you need? Maybe going with the 1 gram per pound of body weight wouldn't be a bad place to start. If you feel you're carb sensitive for some reason, which I think there's too much made of that, but you could cut that in half. So if you're somebody that weighs 220 pounds, you have 220 grams of protein a day. You could have an equivalent amount of carbs, or you can go down to 110 grams of carbohydrates. And then in terms of fats, you just can't cut yourself too short on fats because it will wreck your hormones.
Yeah.
But there's usually enough fat in most things to where you don't have to go out of your way to eat fat. So if you're having whole eggs, if you eat cheese here and there,
Red meat.
if you're having red meat, you should be covered. If you're having, fatty types of fish, if you eat like bacon or anything like that, your fat requirements for the day should be covered enough to the point where it's not going to be detrimental towards your hormones. I would just say, just real basic information. Don't go below like 60. Like don't go below like 60 grams of fat. And if you're somebody that's exercising a lot, you might even have to bring it up a little bit more than that. But that's like just real easy things to some targets to try to hit that I think anyone can work towards, getting close to some of those numbers.
Yeah. And for those of you as far as like tracking your meals or whatever, for some people tracking can be kind of difficult because it's a little bit arduous having to weigh your food and
it's a good way to start out the new year though, maybe. You know, like just pay attention to what it is, maybe write some of it down or put it in an app. That's
the big thing right there. When we talk about food, we generally don't snack. We're not big snackers, so we usually eat real food when we eat. And if what you could do is you could just follow these concepts and just track the food you're eating, right? Like if you make a steak, weigh the steak, put it into whatever app you use to track it. Just track the food you eat just so you can have a ballpark of how much you're eating. So maybe you could see, wow, I'm eating 4,000 calories. I didn't know that, I was drinking this much calories or whatever, but just track it to make sure. And then also, just as far as concepts when it comes to your nutrition, we always talk about not really drinking your calories, right? Because you could go crazy when drinking juice or fucking just drinks that have calories. So try to go with calorie-free drinks. And trying not to snack throughout your day. We don't really carry snacks around, and when we do, we usually don't have it that much. But if you're someone who snacks a lot, you might be getting a lot of calories from those snacks. And then also when we eat, we try to eat whole foods because that actually will make you fuller faster. So you won't end up eating as much versus, having a lot of chips or cereal or whatever other fucking snacks, processed foods you might eat. It's not that it's necessarily bad, but it's just hard to stop eating for most people, including ourselves.
Yeah, just switch the snacks over to fruit. That's what I've been doing. That shit's been great.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
What do you like fruit wise?
So I like the blueberries for sure. They're super easy. They pack well. They last a long time too. Bananas are very convenient because they're just already encased in their own carrying case.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I will do apples, but they're not my favorite. I'm just not a fan of apples. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess maybe they're a little bit harder to eat.
What about the pink lady? You try those?
Oh, pink lady apples?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a married man.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I like what are they called?
Fuji?
Honey Crisp.
Oh yeah, those are
Honey
good.
Crisp are really good.
Are
But
they crispy?
They're just delicious. I don't know. I mean, they're crispy, but like, yeah, no. I mean, no one's gonna eat a soft apple. Like nobody wants
That's
that.
Granny Smith, right? Granny Smith is the soft one.
Well, those are the green ones, but
Oh.
a soft apple is just an apple that went bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I thought there were specific apples that are like more soft.
You might be right though. I don't know.
Could be.
Okay.
But no, I like the blues, strawberries if they're already like prepared, quote prepared, just cut. I don't want to deal with that shit.
You
I
know
try to
about
make it
the-
as easy as possible.
You know about the green banana?
Yeah.
The plantain?
Well, a green banana. I don't know about the plantains or whatever, but the green banana has hardly any sugar in it.
Mm-hmm.
A green banana. It's a prebiotic fiber.
Is he talking about plantain though?
No,
No, I'm
he's
talking
talking
totally
about
different?
a super ripe banana that's like very
Oh.
green.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't taste as good.
Or not
But they don't
ripe.
have hardly
Sorry.
any sugar in them. And even if they're slightly green, they still just have less sugar in them.
I've never even tried eating those bananas.
Yeah, most people don't. In other countries, they do it quite a bit, but yeah, here in the
should
U.S.,
try
people are like, I want to wait till it's yellow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but when I eat a greener banana, to me it tastes more like what I used to eat when I was a kid. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it could be
because when I eat
like less of GMO or some shit.
when I
or
eat a
whatever.
yellow banana, it's like very sweet, which is delicious. Don't get me wrong. And I don't, people are gonna go nuts over like the ones that I did say because bananas and blueberries both have a lot of sugar or whatever.
Not really. Well, a banana
sorry.
can,
Yeah.
but yeah, blueberries aren't.
They're good.
Any
Okay.
any of the dark berries, the blueberry, blackberry, raspberry.
And you could eat like a pound of strawberries and it's like
Yeah.
no calories. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like 100 calories, but like good luck
Yeah.
getting all of that in there. You get full.
That's one thing to do when you're hungry is to eat fruit.
Yes.
It's a great idea. Another thing to do when you're hungry is to have 40 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Keep it easy. Every time you're hungry, just be like, I got to either get through a bunch of fruit or I got to get through 40 grams of protein. And if you're someone that digs vegetables, I suppose you could eat those too.
And get a fucking protein shake. Like seriously, like have like if you're like, oh God, I'm hungry. Have a protein shake because like if you can scoop in 2 scoops of protein, right, in some water, it'll taste pretty fucking good. But then once you finish it, you're probably like, I really wasn't that hungry. Sometimes maybe you were, but most
You're
of
like,
the time
I don't
you
need to
weren't.
eat like an asshole. Like I could calm down a little bit.
Yeah. How are you having people navigate World Carnivore Month? Because every single January, you've been telling people, go carnivore for a month at least. See how you feel. But this year, you're going about it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw something out there. I hear a lot of people saying that they find it hard to do for, 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row. A lot of people only make it halfway and then they're disappointed. And so I was like, well, maybe just throw out like a different challenge. I just want people to like feel it. I want people to experience the diet and see how they feel from it. So I think 3 days is a good amount of time. Anyone that really hasn't tried the diet much before, and they're heavier than they want to be, if you eat well for 3 days in a row, you'll actually lose quite a bit of weight. A lot of times you'll lose water weight. If it's your first time going low to no carbohydrate, you'll probably notice a pretty significant loss and you'll probably feel pretty good for a couple days. There's also the chance that you might not feel great. There's also a chance that you feel like tired or run down. Maybe you're used to running off of carbohydrates, or maybe just the diet intervention's a little aggressive for you. And so I think 3 days on, maybe a day off, or maybe just a meal off. The main thing is to be careful and cautious with that day off. The day off isn't supposed to be like a day of like reckoning. The day off would be like, hey, have some rice, have potatoes, have some fruit, and maybe you can sidestep the Hershey squirts that you might get from the carnivore month that a lot of other people experienced.
You know, the cool thing though is like that suggestion that you've made is kind of having, if somebody's been, let's say they've had a bad diet and they eat just too much food and a lot of processed food, and then they switch to doing this carnivore 3 days or carnivore-ish for 3 days and then 1 day with extra carbohydrates, it kind of almost morphs into kind of what you do nowadays, because all of our diets currently are meat-based.
Right.
But we will have some fruit here and there. We will have some potatoes. We will have some rice. It's just those aren't where a majority of our potential calories are coming from all the time, right? So it'll help change an individual's food habits while helping it to be something that you can do. Because sticking to pure protein for 30 days for most people is just too big of a departure from what they've been doing.
It's going to be really difficult. And what I'm seeing from a lot of people is a lot of people end up binging, you know? So I don't have any problem people going like, you know, on and off their diet a little bit here and there, but binging is a really tough one. Like binging to me means that the diet somewhere is too restrictive, and you like, if the diet is less restrictive and you have a little bit of ice cream here and there, you eat a little bit of cookies here and there, you have a little bit more freedom. You're not afraid to try Aunt So-and-so's, you know, pasta on Christmas, and you're not afraid to try someone's cookies and to have someone's fudge that they, you know, made on Christmas time. But then you take all that shit when you're done exploring it and you fucking throw it in the garbage, or you get rid of it somehow. You send it off to somebody that you wish to see get fatter in the new year.
I hope you get fat this year.
This is your year to be fat. Here you go.
It's fucking cold. You know, someone's trying to reach a goal, but you just don't like them.
Yeah.
So in the mail, you send them all the treats.
Like, man, this shit's really good.
Why is this box coming to my house every day?
Well, somebody has a mouthful of some good food and they're just like, oh, fuck, Mark sent this to me. Oh, shit.
Like, oh, man.
He's after me.
But yeah, I think that's an error, you know, when somebody fasts too much and they binge. If somebody is trying to go no carb and then they binge, it's like, well, you're not really on a no carb diet because you ate 700 grams of carbs on Saturday. You're just trying to make it to the weekend, and then you ate cookies and a bunch of other stuff. And the combination of like a high fat diet with a lot of carbohydrates in there, and just overeating in general, could be like more of a recipe for disaster than you just being on like no diet hardly at all and just trying not to gain body fat. So anyway, I just am trying to advise people to, I guess, have more opportunities to break things up. And if you were to do 8 sets of 3, it works out. So if you did 3 days in a row, if you did it 8 times during the month, you would end up with like 24 or 25 days of carnivore-ish eating, hopefully. And will get you to like 80-something%. Probably, if the numbers are right. And if you were to do 7, if you did 7 times, you'd be like 21 days. That's pretty good for the 31 days that are in January.
All right. Well, I mean, we've thrown a lot at you guys. If you have questions about this or anything when it comes to your fitness this new year, 2023, please let us know down below so we can hit that for you, because we've been talking about this shit for a long time now.
Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy.
Sure thing. And if you guys dug this conversation, please hit that like button on the way out, and make sure you guys stick around for Smelly's tip before we get out of here. Even though you guys got a bunch of tips today, but there's always
Just
room,
think less.
always room for one more. But yeah, PowerProject.live for everything podcast related, including that dope ass Think Less shirt that Nsima's wearing, along with some other awesome things. And please make sure you guys follow the podcast at MB Power Project on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. My Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z. Nsima, where you at?
Discord community is crushing 2023, so head out to the Discord down below. Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, and Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter, Mark.
My tip for the day is to try to figure out a way to incorporate some safe sprints. Those 2 words don't go together that great, but maybe you can do so on like a machine or something, on like a like Airdyne bike or some version of that, even like an elliptical. Like any of these things will work. Any of the cardio equipment at the gym. If you're going to go out and do it outside, what I would suggest is that you try to go kind of hard for about a minute. On a scale of 1 to 10, If it's your first time doing anything like that in a really long time, just do like a 5 or a 6. Just do like a 5 or a 6, but a minute, running like that for a minute and just walking in between will be a real bitch. Try like 6 or 7 of them and give it a shot. I'm noticing some big changes in my physique just by I'm implementing small amounts of it, and I don't even have the opportunity yet to do it without all the other running. And I think it will have a bigger impact when I have an opportunity to do that. I think it will be something that will advance my physique even faster. So maybe it will help you too. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch you guys later.